Hi everyone, welcome back. We're going to be starting off today with chapter 3, Remember the Monster. So, picking up where we left off, we're just going to keep continuing. I guess there's nothing better to do during quarantine time than read, so let's jump right in. Once they arrive at the club, she looks at him as a grin takes over his face, as she knows exactly what thought entered his mind, and tries to snap him out of it by pulling down her shirt a little to allow him to see her breasts for a brief second. The only issue was that he didn't notice until she called his name and told him to take a quick look, but he simply wasn't interested because he was about to see someone inside the club. And not only that, he would be able to touch them without having to feel awkward about it. Feeling rejected, she pulls up her shirt and starts to head inside. Kevin must have realized that he hurt her feelings because he looks at her and says, "Sorry, it's not you, it's me. You know I'm effed up, but if it makes you feel any better, I can promise you that I won't enjoy myself in there either." Appreciating the gesture, she smiles, looks back at him, and says, "You're right. You're horrible with feelings, making people feel wanted and expressing yourself." Smiling, Kevin knows that she understands where he is coming from and he heads inside while they're laughing the entire walk in. The moment they walk into the building, he sees the stripper that he likes as Megan looks around, trying to spot one stripper who would pique his interest, according to what she believes his type is. But the moment that they sit at the bar and the bartender walks over and introduces herself to Megan, she instantly realizes that the bartender is his type and tells him that she knows for sure that he loves the blondes with light eyes. Kevin laughs as he knows that it's no secret, but then again, he has never tried to hide it. Nor has he denied the fact that he prefers light eyes, yet he feels the need to let her know that the stripper he loves to watch is standing at the end of the bar, and it throws her off guard to see that she is a black woman instead of the typical white blonde girl he would normally go for. "Really?" a shocked Megan asked. "Yes, she is the best one here by far," Kevin answers. "I never would have guessed that she would be your favorite. You are full of surprises, aren't you?" Megan says. "Girl, honestly, you have no idea," Kevin replies, laughing. They get a few drinks from the bartender, who Megan points out is more his type than the stripper, and she is still trying to figure out what it is that he loves so much about her. Kevin is mesmerized just looking at her, and the moment he is about to stand up to head over to the stage, she notices he is back and smiles at him. She continues to dance as Megan tries to get his attention, but he is too enamored with the performance and is completely ignoring anything and everything else in the room. Megan looks at him, not understanding what is so special about the stripper, since she feels that she's much prettier than her and clearly has bigger breasts. But his attention isn't even divided. It is strictly on the performance without a care for what is going on around him. Kevin looks at Megan and invites her to come up to the stage with him. But feeling like it's going to be a long night, she turns him down and tells him that she needs to have a few more drinks to build the confidence to do something like that. Shrugging off what just happened, Kevin walks over to the stage and looks the stripper straight in the eyes as they appear to be smiling at him. And that is all that needed to happen in order for him to turn into pudding. Not knowing what to do next, Megan sits at the bar as she watches how much fun Kevin is having at the stage. She continues to throw down shot after shot of whiskey while waiting for him to return to the bar. But his eyes are focused at the entrance door, hoping to see her once more, thus infuriating Megan even more. Trying to find a way to get him to focus solely on her, Megan rubs up against Kevin, drawing the attention of the bartender, who tells her that she is wasting her time, as he isn't interested in anyone in here other than Georgia. And to not be able to see that is kind of sad because he hasn't been able to take his eyes off her since he walked into the club. The moment the bartender says that, she notices that Georgia is coming their way and has her eyes locked on Kevin, who is smiling from ear to ear. Apparently, he has been waiting to see her again since the day that he first brought Bella to the club. Hey, baby, Kevin purrs, making the smile on his face grow. Hey, how have you been? Kevin asks. All good. This is someone new, Georgia replies, glancing at Megan. Where's your wifey from last time? Yeah, we broke up that night we were here. And even though we met up a few times after that to try to make it work, it's just not possible. Kevin answers. Well, baby, don't worry. It's her loss. You deserve better than that, anyways. Georgia says. Thank you. I appreciate it because I was feeling down and actually miss her. It's hard though because she is the love of my life. But whatever. Things will carry on, Kevin replies. Baby, you don't need to worry about that. You are handsome and you're going to do great things. Besides, you don't need a relationship to be happy. And on top of that, you have me, Georgia says with a smile and a wink, bringing a smirk to his face. You know, you're part of the reason why we broke up, right? Kevin asks. Me? Georgia asks, surprised. Yes, you and those eyes. Damn, they're so special. There's nothing that I enjoy more than to look into them and get lost in the process, Kevin says, making her blush as Megan coughs. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Megan, Kevin adds, finally introducing her. Nice to meet you, Megan, Georgia says, smiling at her. Returning her focus to Kevin, Georgia asks, So is this the new girlfriend? Oh, God, no, Kevin answers, laughing. I don't think it was that funny, Kevin, Megan adds, annoyed. I never said it was, but you know that we're never going to work because we are so different and share nothing in common, Kevin replies. Georgia talks to Megan to try to smooth things over, working her magic by standing next to her and showing what makes Kevin love her so much, which happens to be her assets. Megan looks Georgia up and down, biting her lips in the process, and makes eye contact with Kevin as she nods in approval. With that, Kevin knows he is no longer in the doghouse. Even though he has no intentions of pursuing more with Megan, he still doesn't want to do anything that will ruin their friendship and trust. Kevin looks on in awe as Georgia is working her charm to perfection on Megan, who's calming down and can't seem to remember why she was annoyed in the first place. Since Georgia is a lovely woman and a delight to have a conversation with, knowing that things are going smoothly, Kevin invites Megan into his dance later on in the night, to which she looks at him, smiling, and nods in agreement. They continue to make small talk, but Kevin is a little uninterested in the topics since he already knows that they will be getting a dance. So he walks over to the bartender, intending to talk to her while he drinks a glass of Merlot. Kevin glances at her and smiles as the bartender looks over at him and says, I know, I remember you. But it's not clear at the moment how I do. Smiling, Kevin acknowledges that she is right and tells her that he was here with a blonde not long ago and that they got kicked out. Even before he could finish saying his part, she jumped in saying, Oh my God, yes. I knew you. Shoot, is she here today? Laughing, Kevin tells her that she won't be coming tonight because they are no longer together, but he is happy that they made that much of an impression on the club. Oh my God, that night was crazy. I felt so bad for you, but knowing that you guys broke up makes me feel good because she was a bit trashy and you deserve better, the bartender says. Thank you. I knew we were different in many ways, but at the same time we were so much alike, Kevin replies. I highly doubt that. Going by how good I am at judging people, you deserve better, and she was beneath you, she says. Well, I'll take your word on it, but I will admit that it was a crappy situation and a bit embarrassing to deal with all that drama, Kevin replies. Yes, it was. I'm Jessie, in case you don't remember, she says. Oh, I remember. It's hard to forget, actually, Kevin replies, a small grin playing on his lips. Jessie continues to talk to Kevin while Megan is being entertained by Georgia and fully aware that he is finally talking to someone who is more his type of girl. Megan knows that Jessie represents everything that he looks for in a girl, mostly in part due to her having blonde hair and green eyes. It's no secret that those two things are his biggest weaknesses. Kevin is enjoying the conversation with Jesse. She encourages him to keep moving forward and to not be down or upset about things not working with Bella, as he has a few things that are working in his favor, and there is nothing that can prevent him from achieving his goals. Humbled by her thoughts, Kevin looks at her and just smiles as he realizes that even though there were hard times between them, Bella always believed in him, and she was a big supporter of his, and that is something that he misses. Megan walks up to Kevin and tells him that she would like to see how Georgia performs and that they should go get a private dance. Jessie looks at him and smiles as she realizes that Megan is jealous of the attention, or lack thereof, that Kevin is showing. So she winks at him and mouths to him that he should go in order to avoid another dramatic visit to the club. Megan signals Georgia to come over so she can spend a little time with him before they can go to the back room. They talk about work and other minor things that really have him feeling comfortable, as there is no need to worry about lying or hiding anything. So he is feeling more like himself than with anyone else in the world other than Bella. That freedom is something he has gotten used to since in his previous relationship he had to lie constantly in order to prevent fighting. But even with all his attempts to avoid the fights, it all failed, and there was nothing that stopped the fights from occurring. That is why, when he found Bella, he told her the main things he wanted. He told her the main things he wanted were no secrets and complete honesty, trust, loyalty, and communication in order to make the relationship better and last. And she agreed to it. He felt as if he had won the lottery. There was no need to hide anything anymore. Yet it wasn't him who had the secrets or lied about things from the start, even though he did start off by telling her a lie, no matter how small. A lie was still a lie, so with them starting off with a lie, it set the precedent that she continued to carry on with the hope that he would never find out. Georgia asks him if he's ready for his dance, to which he looks at the room and tells Megan to lead the way so they can experience something together that he had only previously shared with Bella. He is now willing to try to open things up and explore a different side of himself, allowing others into his world. Kevin pays the manager for her dance, then proceeds to follow Georgia and Megan into the other room, knowing that this time has the potential to be better than his first experience, and he is eager to see where things go. Kevin sits in the middle of the couch per Georgia's direction, while Megan perches on the armrest. Watching as Georgia gets undressed, his eyes lock in on her ass as she is shaking it, and he becomes hypnotized by it. "Do you like it, baby?" Georgia asks in a soft, seductive voice. "Oh, you have no idea," Kevin answers, a bit of gravel in his voice. Even Megan can't take her eyes off Georgia's performance. "Any boundaries?" Georgia asks Megan. "What do you mean?" Megan asks. "Anything you want to see me do to him?" Georgia asks. "You can do whatever you want. I won't stop you. It should be fun to watch," Megan answers. "Okay, baby. Sit there and enjoy the show," Georgia tells Megan. As she slowly sways toward him, Georgia says to Kevin, "And you, sweetie, get ready to forget all the bullshit that you went through." Megan sees Kevin glance at her for a split second before focusing his attention back on Georgia. Megan looks on, intrigued, as Georgia is now fully nude and puts her breasts into his mouth. Megan continues to watch, but is feeling a little disappointed given the fact that Georgia also has caramel-colored skin, and she gets all this attention while she fights for his friendship and compassion, only to realize that maybe it is her that he is not interested in, given that he is enjoying Georgia like there is no one else in the room with them. Georgia is now grinding on top of him and kisses his neck as he grabs her right butt cheek and spanks the left one, as he is now beginning to feel comfortable to the point that Megan is starting to feel a bit uncomfortable. Megan looks at the floor. It's becoming painful to watch how much fun he is having, and accepting the fact that she can never be the one who will help him forget, or at least alleviate the pain of his heart, is difficult. She lifts her eyes only to see an expression of joy overtaking his face as Georgia has his head between her breasts and is riding him harder and harder while he spanks her. With each spank, it feels as if he were slapping her in the face as she notices the look of satisfaction on George's face and a smile on his face that she would normally love to see. But at the moment, she finds it to be disgusting as the pain in her heart continues to grow. What's the matter, baby? Aren't you enjoying yourself? Georgia asks Megan. I'm fine. I'm just waiting for the time to end so I can go get a drink, Megan replies in a sulky tone. Come on, baby. Join us on the couch. I promise you'll have fun, Georgia says. No, I'm good here, Megan replies. Sweetie, don't you want her here on the couch with us? Georgia asks Kevin. She's welcome to come sit here if she likes, Kevin answers. Megan was hoping to hear a yes, but that made it seem like he was indifferent. See, baby? Come and join us, Georgia says. Really, I'm good here, Megan states. Georgia continues to dance on top of him, thrusting her hips in front of his face. Megan continues to watch, a little turned on, and realizes there is no way anything will happen between herself and Kevin because he is too fixated on Georgia and Jesse. Megan tries to get his attention by going closer to him and rubbing his chest, but the only thing that she gets out of it is a, hey, this is fun. Look, his attention shifting quickly back toward Georgia as he places his left hand on her thigh, sliding it up and slipping two of his fingers into her vagina. Disturbed, Megan gapes at him. Not knowing what to say, she just continues to stare as Georgia moans and kisses his neck. Feeling disrespected, she is about to leave when the manager calls into the room to let them know that the time had expired a few minutes ago, and Megan lets out a sigh of relief. What do you say we add more time and finish what we started? Kevin adds with a smirk on his face. I was thinking about and hoping for the same thing, Georgia answers breathily. How are you liking it, brown sugar? Georgia asks Megan as Kevin leaves the room to add more time. I'm fine, but clearly he loves your caramel ass more than my brown sugar, Megan answers with a slight bite to her voice, not knowing Kevin can hear the conversation from outside the room. Sugar, did I overstep? I don't want to come between you guys if you're working on something here, Georgia says. She sounds sincere. No, you're good. Maybe it was me tricking myself into thinking this would lead into something because, at one point, I thought he was into me, but then realized I'm not his type. Yet it's so frustrating because neither are you, and he can't seem to get enough of you, as sad as Megan answers. Sugar, I don't know him that well, but he seemed like he's a nice person who is set in his ways. I don't know if he told you that he was here a while ago with another girl, but that they have since broken up. But she was pretty, and he gave me all his attention that night as well. And yes, I'm different from what he normally looks at. He has told me his usual preferences, but he keeps coming back to see me. Listen, he's not that complicated from what I can tell. Just listen to him, and he will tell you what it is he wants and go from there. That's not one thing I must say I like about him. He will tell me, be me, and then tell me what it is he wants done to him. He's extremely easygoing, and it makes it easy to work with him, Georgia says. You talk as if you've known him for a long time, but you haven't. So I don't understand how it is that you can claim that you know him better than I do, since I have worked with him and spent several hours hearing about his ups and downs with Bella. Megan replies, annoyed. I'm not saying I know him better, but I do know people, given my line of work. But I can also tell you the things I've learned from dealing with him, Georgia says. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. I'm just hurt and don't understand why I have to pay for someone else's mistakes and them breaking him, Megan replies. Breaking him? Georgia asks as Kevin walks back into the room. Who's broken me? Kevin asks, looking at Megan. Don't worry, baby, it's something else. Come on, let's finish what we started and see where the night goes. Maybe it will end in an experience that the three of us will never forget, Georgia answers with a wink. Kevin sits back down on the couch, and Georgia invites Megan to sit down as well, but she refuses and returns to her spot on the armrest. Disappointed that Megan is not listening, Georgia shifts her attention back to Kevin, massaging his chest while kissing his neck. Kevin looks into George's eyes, and even though they aren't light, which he loves, he still finds himself lost in them and doesn't want to stop looking into them. He finds them to be peaceful and very exotic. Georgia reaches down, grabbing him by the balls, and smirks and proceeds to suck on her left breast. In that moment, Megan realizes that she might not have a chance after all, because not once has he ever referenced her brown eyes as something exotic, nor has he ever stared into them, hoping to never have to break that connection. George is now stroking his penis as she kisses him, and Megan watches on, realizing that this is the closest thing that she will get to having an intimate encounter with him on any level. She stands up and tells him that she's going to leave them alone as she walks out of the room heartbroken. Kevin looks over at her for a brief second and doesn't say a word, nor does he react in any way towards her. He simply makes sure that she closes the curtain on the way out so he can continue to enjoy his time with Georgia with some privacy. Georgia, on the other hand, tries to convince Megan to stay, but her mind is made up and she leaves the room. Georgia, not wanting to waste any more time, refocuses on Kevin to make sure that his night doesn't end up being horrible like the first time that she saw him. 20 minutes goes by before Kevin finally walks out of the private room and heads back to the bar where he sees Megan having a few drinks and is visibly upset. But he doesn't want to have an argument right now, not when he is feeling so good. To avoid a possible confrontation, he sits at the table close to the stage for a bit. Megan hasn't noticed that he is out of the room just yet, but Jessie has, and she walks over to him with a glass of wine. Kevin, sensing that someone is coming toward him, turns his head to the left and is glad to see that it's Jessie. She approaches him and tells him that this glass is on the house, and she hopes this time was a lot better than the last one. Smiling, he lets her know that there are no complaints and that this is by far the most fun he has ever had in a place like this. He had no idea what to expect when he came here with Bella the first time. Jessie smiles as she places her hand on his shoulder while leaning into his left ear and reminds him that he deserves so much more than Bella because he is a good person and that it's important that he remembers that. Kevin laughs, knowing she's right, but there are things that are out of his control, and his heart is something he has no control over, given that he has never bothered to learn how to feel anything due to the fact that he grew up in an environment where feelings outside of hate and anger were never a priority. It was necessary for him to be cold inside in order to survive. The moment that Jessie starts to walk away from him and heads back toward the bar, Kevin is caught staring at her ass by Megan, who finally sees that he has been by the stage instead of sitting next to her. She continues to sit there, waiting to see what he will do next, but he does nothing except continue to look at Jessie, who keeps smiling and signals for him to come sit at the bar next to Megan. Kevin waves her off, but she gives him a look, flashing those beautiful eyes of hers, making him weak in the process, and he gives in and makes his way to the bar. Jessie smiles at him, knowing she has him eating out of the palm of her hand. So, Kev, Megan here has been waiting to see you for a while now, Jessie says nonchalantly. Really? Kevin asks. Yes, she has. And she's feeling left out because of all the attention you're giving everyone else here, Jessie answers. Is that so? Kevin asks. Yes, sweetie. She's a good person. Show her a good time. Or at least open up to her and let her know what it is that's troubling you, Jessie answers. Are you my therapist now? Kevin jokingly asks. No, but hopefully I can be a friend instead of just a bartender and eye candy, Jessie replies with a smile. Of course you're a friend. I enjoy coming here to talk to you and watch a show. This is perhaps the most fun I've had in a long time, Kevin says as Jessie smiles, happy with his answer. Kevin looks over at Megan and finally acknowledges that she's upset. He walks over to where she is seated at the end of the bar. I'm sorry, Megan. Truly I am. But this has nothing to do with you, honestly. I'm saving you from my recklessness, and I would hate to have you or anyone else live this with me. I've been through a lot and value our friendship more than you could ever know. I won't want to lose you. I've lost too much as it is. Kevin bears his heart to Megan. We've all been through a lot. I know things haven't been easy for you, but you shouldn't close out the world because of one stupid bee. You know, you don't have to walk through this world alone. It would be foolish to try to do it alone because you have so many people in your life that care about you, especially the one person who took the time to come out here with you tonight. I'm here because I believe in you and will provide all the help and support you could possibly need, and then some, Megan replies, staring at him in the eyes. Knowing that things will only get worse if he shuts down emotionally at this moment, he decides to listen to Jesse's advice and starts to open up about why it is that he can no longer see himself in the way that other people see him. Unsure of what to think of the way that he's been acting, Megan just sits there as he starts off by saying that there's so much that he has been through in the last two relationships, between all the lying that he did in the first one and the lying that was done to him in the second one. Following that was cheating in both relationships, but he didn't care about the cheating in the first, as he wanted out of the relationship for the longest time and was no longer in love. But the second one, his most recent relationship, that one hurt because he actually had envisioned a life and future with her. Thrown the abuse by people who were supposed to guide and help him, but instead decided to torture and punish him for things that were not his fault. And he has become someone guarded, careful with his feelings, emotions, and trust. Heartbroken by what she is hearing, the only thing she can feel is deep sorrow for everything that he has had to experience, and she now understands better why it's hard for him to get close to people. And the trust issue that is clearly plaguing him will doom any and all relationships if it is not taken care of. Not knowing what to say next, she just looks at him as he sits there waiting for her response. But Megan is at a complete loss for words. She wants to hug him so badly and let him know that everything will be okay, but she doesn't know if it will be welcomed. So she stands there next to him as he just looks on, waiting for something to happen. After giving Megan a few minutes, Kevin knows that there is something on her mind that she doesn't know how to or doesn't want to express. So he stands next to her and gives her a hug, reminding her that nothing will ever change the way that he views their friendship. And he is extremely grateful for her coming out with him tonight because this was something that he really needed. He is at a completely different place in his life right now. This could even be considered the darkest era of his life. Kev, you don't need to feel that way. You have a lot of close friends who care about you and will have your back no matter what, Megan says. Thank you, that truly means a lot to me. I know I'm not easy to put up with, especially when I'm wrapped up inside of my own head. Kevin replies, I just wish you would open up and allow me and everyone else in so we can help you more. I want you to know that we mean it and when we say we're there for you. But I understand that it's all related to your trust issues, Megan says. That's a big flaw in my personality, yes, but I must say it's necessary for me in order to be aware of those I allow in my life. I wasn't always this nice and caring person that you see in front of you today, Kevin replies. What do you mean? How were you before? What changed? Megan asks. Before Bella, I was simply living life. I had achieved everything I had wanted to at that point. I had the money, cars, traveled, and enjoyed only the best things in life. Despite having it all, I wasn't happy. I felt there was something missing, and I tried to live without it, but it all changed one day, Kevin answers. But what caused it all to change? What would cause you to give it all up? Megan asks. I was effing stupid. I felt something that I never felt before. I fell in love with someone whom I was warned away from, but since I don't judge people based off of the opinions of others, I ignore the warnings and let myself get close to her, Kevin answers. I allowed myself to forget about what mattered to me, ensuring my well being and making sure I was covered money wise, and to never allow anyone to take that away from me. Yet I did. I felt love for the first time in my life, and it hit me extremely hard, and I disregarded the advice of other people telling me to keep away. I also ignored the girl I was with. She was finally falling out of love with me. I had long ago mentally checked out of the relationship, never really being 100% invested in it anyway, Kevin adds. I don't understand why you did those things. You're a hard worker and so full of pride that I can't imagine you taking the easy way to achieve something, Megan says. Yes, I try to achieve everything on my own, but at that point, I was longing for more, and the money was too good to pass up on. So I sucked it up and basically sold my soul to have all the things I wanted instead of busting my butt to achieve them. I must say that it wasn't an easy pill to swallow, but I did it. Up until I met her, and then it all fell apart, Kevin replies solemnly. But why did you give it up? What was it about Bella that made you do all that? Megan asks. Bella was something special, and I say was feelings have because feelings change a bit after the things you see once a relationship is over. But she definitely was special. I was at a point where I wasn't interested in loving anyone, and there she appeared, changing that in a split second. She made me feel good about myself at a time when I needed that badly. She reminded me so much of my old life, something I fought so hard to get away from. When I looked at her, I saw pain in her eyes, and I wanted to escape the life I was living at the time. I needed that familiar feeling of knowing something so similar to me. The fact that she was hurting too made it easier for us to bond. I felt like there was nothing I could do. I felt like there was nothing I wouldn't do to make sure she was happy. I had envisioned a life of us being happy and on top of the world, but just looking down at an empire that we built together. But I guess I was too effing stupid for thinking that I deserved that kind of happiness, Kevin says. Oh my God, I never thought that you could be so sweet. You always present that rough exterior, but inside there is something different about you that is so kind and sweet. I like this side of you. Why don't you show this side more often? Megan says. Because I had never experienced anything else that would make me feel that way before or since Bella. So there's no need for me to show this side, and even if I wanted to, I couldn't do it, as I simply don't feel the emotions or need to do so in my heart. Kevin answers. You shouldn't give up. Not when you have so much to share with the world and with people and with someone special in your life. Please promise me that you'll try to make things right. Not for anyone else, but for yourself. Please, Megan says, emotion coloring her cheeks. I just don't feel it anymore, and definitely don't see the point of trying to make it work or put myself into that kind of situation, especially if I can't find a way to prevent it, Kevin replies.